Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you so much for holding this hearing today. There's no doubt that every single member of Congress on this committee, we're all on the same page as far as agreeing that rural broadband is extremely important to the regions we serve, to our nation. And I think we're probably, we see it similarly in that we also want to make sure that we're spending taxpayer dollars as efficiently and as effectively as possible. Something that's very important. I'm on the Appropriations Committee also, and something very, very important to me, and I know to the members as well. So to be efficient and effective with these essential resources, something that we need to make sure that we're keeping an eye on is to make sure that we are looking at the most needed, what's most needed out there, and to minimize the federal agencies from competing against one another in terms of funding rural projects. It's nice to be in demand, that there's this universal feeling that we've got to address broadband, but we do have to make sure that we're not, overlapping what's going on. So, Ms. Prather, I've got a question for you. As a community-based provider who has benefited from federal programs, can you talk a little bit about the importance of coordination between broadband deployment programs?
Absolutely. Thank you, ma'am. You're absolutely right. We've got to build these things efficiently and using the most effective use of taxpayer dollars. I think that's why it's important to remember that these different programs sometimes do serve different purposes, and they're all needed. We do need RUS and USDA to provide that upfront financing for these really expensive asset builds. I think it's important to note that we want to build it once. If we're going to build something, we don't want to have to redo it in a few years. We know what the growth projections look like. That is not a question to anyone. So we want to build networks that are going to be able to sustain that growth for the life of that network. It's also important to note that if you're in an area where without federal support, one network can't survive due to just the lack of people in the area, it's important that there is a program like Universal Service to maintain affordable rates over the life of that network as well. All of these programs can work in concert. I think it's important to note, too, that like you said, whoever has the data on what's needed and where it's currently being used, other agencies should coordinate. I'm not here to say who should be in charge of that, but whoever has the best data is the one that we should look to see what's available and what's still needed.
Dr. Park, I see you nodding your head. Do you have any other thoughts along these lines?
Thank you, Congresswoman. I think WIN is a unique organization that can serve as that coordination effort that you just mentioned about. Because we're neutral, we don't provide internet services to end customers. We are in the best interest to bring this technology, the services, to our regional folks as quickly as we can. So we work with 30 plus ISPs in the region. We work with federal government. We work with state agencies. We work with local regional economic developers. We work with farmers and manufacturers who are main stakeholders in the region. So there is a unique place for an organization like WIN to play to coordinate this massive efforts that's going to happen across the United States.
Dr. Park, how do you see increased investments in rural broadband through fiber to the home and fixed wireless impacting our growers and our producers? You said that that's among who you're working in your part of Indiana, but can you talk a little bit about how you see that impacting, especially their bottom lines?
Well, the recent USDA report was clear that the impact of connectivity in farmland is going to tremendously increase the bottom line for agricultural production. No question about it. So again, but we have to be careful. Having internet to residential applications versus having connectivity to sensors in the farmland, they are two different infrastructures. But if we build it together, it's much more cost effective. We're not going to have millions of people in a rural area, but we're going to have a vast amount of land that is ripe for digital agriculture, precision agriculture revolution. And that's where, in my mind, where tremendous opportunity lies. So we cannot forget the opportunity of precision agriculture in conjunction with meeting the needs of our rural American residents.
All right, and the clock is at 0. Very well done. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.